Welcome back. So, for the last few sessions, we've really been getting our hands dirty, right? We've talked about the physical stuff, the steel, the valves, the flanges, even those exotic alloys that are so critical for keeping a plant safe. But that begs the question, doesn't it? When you're in the middle of a design, how do you actually know which valve to use or which specific line needs to be x-rayed for inspection? And, a really basic one, how do you know if a pipe is supposed to connect to pump A or pump B? Well, one thing's for sure, you don't guess. You can't. In our world, in engineering, guessing isn't just a mistake, it's negligence. Instead, we rely on this incredible trio of documents that really form the documentation backbone of any EPC project. We're talking about the line list, the P&ID, and the piping class. Look, as a designer, these are your instructions. If you think of the 3D model as the body of the plant, then these documents, they're the DNA. They dictate everything. So today, we're going to break down how to read them, see how they all work together, and most importantly, understand why they hold absolute authority over every single design decision you make. All right, so let's start breaking down that DNA, shall we? First up, we've got the line list. I like to think of this as the birth certificate for every pipe. On a major refinery project, you could be dealing with over 50,000 individual pipes. I mean, just think about that number. Managing all of that requires a massive database, and that's exactly what the line list is. It is, for all intents and purposes, the birth certificate for every single piece of pipe in the facility. It's basically a giant spreadsheet or a database that lists every line number and spells out all its critical operating parameters. So, what's in it? Well, it tells you the design pressure and temperature, and right there, that's what dictates your stress analysis. It tells you the fluid service. Is this line carrying simple water or high-pressure steam, or maybe something really nasty like a lethal gas? It also tells you the insulation thickness, which is something you absolutely need to know to calculate the right spacing between your pipes. And this one is critical. It defines the test pressure. See, after the construction crew builds the line, they have to pressure test it to make sure it's sound. The line list tells them exactly how high to crank that pressure. So, for you, as a designer, the line list is where you go to understand the personality of a pipe. Is it going to be hot, heavy? Is it dangerous? It's all right there. Okay, next up is the P&ID. That stands for the Piping and Instrumentation Diagram. If we're sticking with our analogy and the line list is the birth certificate, then you can think of the P&ID as the map. What it is, really, is a schematic, a drawing that shows the process logic. It lays out all the major equipment, your towers, your pumps, heat exchangers, and all the lines that connect them. And I mean everything is on there. Every valve, every drain, every vent, and every instrument. But, and this is a huge but, you have to be crystal clear on what a P&ID is not. It is not to scale. It is not geographically accurate. You might look at a P&ID and see two pumps that look like they're sitting right next to each other. But in the real world, in the plant, one could be on the ground floor and the other could be on the third level of a structure, maybe 50 meters away. Your job as the piping designer is to take this 2D logical schematic and translate it into a 3D physical reality. This means you have to be meticulous. If the P&ID shows a check valve right after a pump, that's exactly where you put it in the 3D model. If it shows a pressure transmitter on the top of a line, you absolutely cannot model it on the bottom. Just burn this into your brain. The P&ID is the governing logic. It's the law. If your model disagrees with the P&ID, guess what? Your model is wrong. Period. And that brings us to our third key document, the piping class. You'll often hear this called the pipe spec. Just imagine for a second. What if you had to individually pick out the bolt material, the gasket type, and the pipe wall thickness for every single one of those 50,000 lines we talked about? I mean, the number of engineering hours would be just astronomical, and the potential for errors through the roof. So to solve that problem, we group lines that have similar characteristics into a class. And once a line is assigned to a specific class, poof! All those little decisions are already made for you. The class dictates you must use a specific pipe schedule, a specific gasket, a certain flange material, you name it. Really, the piping class is like a filter. It's designed to remove the possibility of you making a mistake. So when you're routing a line in your 3D software, the system literally will not let you insert an incompatible component. It'll just block you. This is how we ensure that every single part in that line is compatible with the temperature and pressure that was defined way back in the line list. Okay, so we've got these three powerful documents. How do they actually all come together in a real-world workflow? Let's walk through how this whole thing integrates, from document all the way to design. Well, it all starts with the P&ID. You'll be looking at the diagram and you'll identify the line you need to work on. Let's say it's the discharge line from pump 101. You find its line number right there on the P&ID. Then you hop over to your 3D software, doesn't matter if it's E3D or SmartPlant, and you select that exact line number from the database. And this is where the magic happens. The software automatically reaches out, pulls all the parameters from the line list, and then loads the correct components from the piping class. And what's really truly elegant about this system is just how much information is packed into a single line number. Take a look at this one, 4-inch P1001A1A. That little string of characters tells you everything you need to get started. 4-inch, that's the size, obviously. P tells you the fluid service, which is process in this case. 1001 is just its unique sequence number. And then you have A1A. That right there, that's the piping class. That last part is the golden key that unlocks all the correct material and component specifications for you. This is the system working perfectly. When you go to place an elbow in the model, the software only gives you the specific elbow that's defined in that A1A class. You don't have to browse a catalog. There's no chance for you to pick the wrong one. This trio, the P&ID, the line list, and the piping class, it works together to automate the safety of the pressure boundary. And what that does is free you up to focus on the hard part, the geometry, the layout, all while knowing that the metallurgy and the pressure ratings are already locked in and secured by the engineering data.
Okay, let's do a quick recap of this documentation backbone.
First, you have the line list. This is the document that tells you the personality of every single pipe. What's its pressure, its temperature, and how does it need to be tested? Then there's the P&ID. That's your map. It is the non-negotiable single source of truth for how everything is connected and how the process logic flows. And finally, the piping class. This is your design filter. Think of it as a pre-approved kit of parts that makes it virtually impossible for you to select an incompatible or unsafe component. So there you have it. We've now covered the theory, we've looked at the components, the materials, and now the documents that tie it all together. You are technically prepared. It's time to leave the classroom, so to speak, and enter the plant. It's time to start moving some steel. In our next module, we're going to start exploring the fundamentals of layout, and we'll see exactly how all this documentation translates into actual physical routing in the plant.